Let's talk about Trump's persuasion strategy. I'm going to try to do this without my camera falling over. Let's do this. And bear with me for a moment as I'm going to talk to my Amazon digital device. You might want to cover your device's ears for a moment. And it goes like this. Alexa, turn off studio. Just fixing the lighting so you can see me worse, but my whiteboard's a little bit better. So Trump is doing his same 2016 technique of going to lots of rallies and getting a lot of energy. And here are all the things he's doing right. So these are all persuasion techniques that are baked into what he's doing, and it's really good. It's like really, really, really good. It's like A double plus good. Let me run through it. So first of all, he's setting up just a deadly contrast, because Biden's problem is he's looking sort of low energy and he's hiding and he's in his basement. He's not doing much. So contrast is one of the most important concepts in persuasion. The bigger the contrast, the better. And Trump has made the biggest contrast you could ever achieve with the least visible candidate of all time, no doubt about it, with the most visible candidate of all time, highest energy versus lowest energy, bravest versus least brave. Amazing contrast, right? Now there's always contrast, but because he's making us focus on it with these rallies, it just takes that contrast into a whole new level. There's a recency bias, meaning that whatever is happening at the moment is more important to us than anything that happened last year. And because time has become distorted under the Trump era, the recency bias is way more important, meaning that we don't remember what happened 2 weeks ago. You know, and if you're going to ask me what happened in February, I think there was some kind of impeachment thing. I don't know. I don't remember. That was a long time ago. But I certainly remember what's happening today. I know what's happening this week. So by Trump sucking up all of the news cycles with these rallies, which are nothing but positive, it's just one positive, funny celebration after another. It's got flags and motion and energy and all this stuff. That's what he's putting in your head, and that's what will be there recently. So the recency bias is all Trump right now. He's doing nothing but positivity. And he's not only leaving it all on the field, a phrase he actually used, by the way, he's a happy warrior. And the happy warrior thing is a perfect finisher. It makes sense to complain and be negative and scare people, you know, during the build-up to the election, but you need a finisher. You need a frosting on that cake that leaves people with a good feeling toward the end. And man, is he killing that. He's just killing it. He just, you know, from the point of the last debate where Trump decided to go, let's say, presidential. I hate to use that phrase because, you know, it's somewhat subjective. But he decided to become more of a presidential-looking, tone-it-down kind of candidate. And then he brought positivity into the rallies, and it's just nothing but good news. And it's recent, so it's great. He's taking all the attention, of course, because he's getting tons of coverage, especially when Biden is hiding. He's got a social proof like crazy going on. Social proof is that we're all influenced by people around us, especially people who are like us. So if you turn on the rally and you see all these people for Trump, how different is that from what you thought for the last 4 years? Yes, he's always done rallies, but couldn't you kind of write them off as, oh, okay, he just went to a place that there were a lot of supporters? But what does it do to your impression of how acceptable it is to support Trump when you see these rallies? And many of them are spontaneous. A lot of the rallies, if you can call it that, don't even have Trump. You know, the boat rally, there's no Trump there. They just organized in rallies. The truck rallies, no Trump. They just organized their own rally. And when you see these spontaneous, gigantic, expressions of pro-Trump, and they're happening all over the country in different places at the same time, suddenly your thought that you can't support Trump because he's sort of a monster and everybody's saying bad stuff about him is really affected by seeing all these people who are okay with vocally and publicly supporting Trump. It makes it easier for you. It gives you a fake because. In other words, you could say to yourself, well, he can't be that bad if all these people are willing to do all this publicly. So the social proof is gigantic. You've got a lot of flags involved with Trump rallies. The book Persuasion by Cialdini talks about how some researchers did some tests where they would show images of the American flag to people before they voted. And they found that if they show you the flag before you vote, you're far more Republican biased in minutes. We're talking about a change that happens almost right away. So the American flag makes you feel more Republican. Now, I don't know why. It could be just the Republicans favor the flag more than other people. But you see that many flags and all these rallies, and of course the news is covering it all, that persuades you. It gets you in the mood for Republican voting. And it is a measurable effect. And it's not me just talking crazy talk. It's been studied, specifically the flag, and specifically voting for Republicans. That exact thing has been studied, and he's killing it on that. Reciprocity, one of the most important concepts in persuasion. That's why a salesperson will do you a favor, might be a small one, buy you some tickets to the show or something, because once somebody does you a favor, you are automatically wired to return the favor. When you see Trump working this hard to do something which clearly is entertainment, and he entertains at the rallies, that's why he does it. There's not like a lot of information being transmitted. It's entertainment. And when you see how hard he is working for the base, what does that do to the base? When somebody works hard for you, you say, I got to do something in return. And all he's asking me is to vote? That's it? That's not even hard. So the reciprocity thing is gigantic. It's really powerful. We owe him a favor because he did so much to entertain us, to show up, to get our energy up, to get the policies that you wanted, etc. You owe him. And he's working hard, and you appreciate that, and you respect it. Everybody responds to hard work. It's universal. You will like anybody who works hard. In fact, you've seen me model this, actually. When I've said good things about AOC, when I've said good things about, who is the actress who is very pro-Biden? Alyssa Milano. I say good things about both of them, although I disagree with their opinions on just about everything. But they work hard. They put in the time. They do the effort. AOC with her wearing out her athletic footwear, and with other people, you just see them putting in the hours, and that means something to me. That gives me some respect. Energy, of course, is always persuasive. People are drawn to energy. Trump is showing the energy like crazy, and you are just naturally drawn to it, especially if somebody is trying to be a leader. Pattern spotting, very important. If you think there's a pattern and it influences you, you will subconsciously start working toward that thing. So if you think that this year is going to look like 2016, you don't know it will, but you suspect it. You worry about it. You fret about it. You think about it. It's the thinking about it that matters. And you're thinking about this 2016 pattern where Trump comes from behind, in the polls anyway, and wins at the last moment. What does that do to you? Well, if you're talking about what it does to any one person, probably nothing. They're just going to vote whoever they're going to vote for. But remember, we're talking about large groups of people. And you only have to move a little sliver of them to make a difference in this election. And I believe that pattern, which is in all of our heads, Democrats and Republicans, will make Republicans show up to satisfy the pattern, and will make Democrats who might have been on the fence about whether it's worth voting or not worth voting, maybe just find something else to do that day. Now, if you ask them later, hey, did you change your behavior because of the 2016 pattern that's in your head? Everybody would say no. They'd say, no. What's that got to do with anything? This is this year. I simply made a decision that I wouldn't vote because I had this important other thing I had to do. So that's the way it would play out in people's heads. But the effect would be you'd see, 1%, some small percent, maybe 1% of the people would just act a little differently because that pattern is rolling around in their head. I talked about the fake because. Watching Trump work so hard, as contrast to Biden, is just one more fake reason you can give yourself to do the thing you wanted to do anyway. And sometimes you need that to just give you that little extra nudge to get you off the fence. People who wanted to vote for Trump, but maybe they were concerned about this or that, something that he did or might do. But then you see how hard he's working compared to Biden, and that gives you another fake reason. It's like, I got to have the guy who works hard. I mean, I'm hiring somebody. You're literally hiring, for all practical purposes, an employee. Are you going to hire the employee who stays in his basement? It's like just a perfect reason if people need a simple one. It's like, well, I don't understand all these policies and I wouldn't know a good trade deal from a bad one, but I can tell a hard worker from a not hard worker. That's pretty easy to tell. I mean, I can see that. So that'll be my reason. The Trump rallies are insanely visual. And of course, the visual element is the most persuasive of your senses. It's more persuasive than a concept. It's more persuasive than hearing it. And man, are they visual. They're super visual. Lots of red. That's a good visual color. Just everything is visual about it. And of course, Trump transitioning into happy warrior mode just feels good, right? When somebody is bringing you optimism, makes you feel optimistic, gives you a little energy, maybe enough energy to show up and vote. So look at all the stuff that Trump is getting right with all this stuff, and look at the timing of it, perfectly timed to peak at the right time. It's really good. It's really good.